Uh, Good afternoon, Shafali ma'am, and good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So, this is our sixth weekend of SAT and ACT test prep. So, undoubtedly, students must have got benefited in the different aspects of their preparation. So, this is the sixth weekend. Let's try to get to the today's topic, that is about SAT essays. So essays have always been a little bit of a critical thing for many of the aspirants. So let's hear it from Shefali ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon. We'll discuss about how the SAT essay has been prepared and graded today. All right. To begin with, you should be aware that your essay score is not added to your main scores. Further stating that essay is optional. So let's say out of 3,000 university, the 30 will give a look to it and they will give a very close look to your essay scores. So your essays are graded on 888. Reading, writing, and analysis that we are going to discuss. It's the essay is 50 minutes long, 5050, and the passage words. So now at least if you get a 666, no university will leave you. So let's say 21 on 24 or 6 or 7 on each category is very important for you to score. So, what is reading, analysis, and writing? So, when I talk about the reading part, it says, did you understand the passage? You are not supposed to twist the author's argument. You are supposed to mention the main idea of the passage. Next is analysis, where students make mistakes and they don't score if they don't focus. So analysis is hard and it's always gets better with practice. So analysis means how well did you explain the author's the argument that he has actually explained his her argument. So you're supposed to focus on the analysis part. That's a very very important feature. Next we go to writing, but before that, analysis or argument, when I talk about, so you're not supposed to show that whether you agree or disagree. So the personal opinion should not be a part of SAT essay. Moving on, next is the writing part. So 888. Writing means how well did you write your response, considering maintaining a formal tone, objective tone, correct punctuations, vocabulary, paragraphs, how you divide it into each paragraph. We are going to discuss what are you supposed to do in each body paragraph with coming up chapters. So 888, that is how it is divided. So before I start with the next chapter, we are supposed to discuss that what are we not supposed to do. So, SAT is a formal essay where you're not supposed to give your personal opinions, like whether I agree or I disagree. This point should not be a part of SAT essay. What am I supposed to do? How is a very important word. How well is he saying what he's trying to say? What makes the argument successful, powerful, convincing? What are the salient features? So suppose if you go for a movie is, why was the movie worth watching for? What are those salient features? What makes it worth watching? So what actually you have to comment on how successful he has been in reading his points to his reader. So, with these evidence reasoning that we are going to discuss. So, when a scientist speaks, he will make his argument more convincing with the evidence, facts, graphs. But when an argument comes from a politician, he will use his argument with actually stylistic elements which are has nothing to do with facts, emotional background, emotional grounds. So that's how it is there. So here he can use either the scientific way or the politician way. So next we go on to the 7 elements of a perfect essay. That's all what the essay evaluator is looking for. So now your essay will go to 2 evaluators. Each will judge you on 444 and 444. Marks of both the evaluators, yeah, Marks of both the evaluators will be combined to make it a 8-8-8. So 50 minutes essay, you should actually consider it 45 minutes with practice when you practice an essay. So 7 elements that makes your essay perfect. Firstly, there is no need to become an American novelist. You have just supposed to focus on these points and you're absolutely prepared. Point number 1 is the length of the essay. So now, trust me, the shortest essay received the lowest scores and the longest essay received the high words. So you have a rule sheet where you're supposed to write as fast as you can. Nobody's judging you for a bad handwriting, but obviously not a doctor's handwriting. So just understandable. That's more is important. Now, before you start writing the essay, you should give 5-7 a plan to structure. Where am I supposed to inject? Where am I supposed to do what? So make that structure, make that plan for 5 minutes so that you don't miss, and then you start writing. You should know that you are not allowed to take a pen. You're supposed to carry pencils, erasers, and sharpeners. So pens would not be permitted. So dark pencils. So moving on to the next point is the thesis. Now, thesis is extremely important. These can actually be spotted easily and reward you for catchy scores, which means that captures the main idea, the essence of your essay. What do you want to say? When I start the first paragraph, if you look at a lot of sample essays, you will notice that the introduction and the conclusion is very precise, concise, to the point, whatever you want to say. So the first thing that will fetch you scores is the introduction. Pranav knows what he wants to convey, the main idea, very precise, to the point, and the thesis has to be expressed. So that's about the thesis part. Now I move on to the third point, which says organization and structure. I'm supposed to make it into only 5 paragraphs, no 3, no 4, no 6. So what am I supposed to do in each paragraph? We are going to discuss that with the next chapter. As if now you should know, you should not change the topic. It's going to definitely irritate the evaluator. So just to increase the length, I can't start repeating things. That's another mistake that students make. So how I divide it, how I structure it with 5 paragraphs, it should lead to the overall analysis. It should meet my prompt. It should actually not distract the reader. So what I want to say, organization and structure. Next, I move on to point number 4, which is the vocabulary. Now, if I talk about vocabulary, I mean the word choice. You're supposed to inject sophisticated words to impress the evaluator. So I would say 7 to 9 words are more than sufficient. Suppose, let me give you examples. Instead of saying sensible, I would say pragmatic. Instead of saying it's a false statement, I would rather use fallacious. Something like diligent, benevolent. So if you go on to Google and you check out those 100 good SAT vocabulary words in general, you can catch hold of and just cram 15, 20 words and inject, because your marks will really, this would really make a difference. So those smart, good, fancy words that match with the tone of the passage are very important. One thing I would like to address, I have noticed while reading a lot of essays, students use very informal language which is not permitted in a SAT essay. This stuff, this guy, that guy, please, we need to respect the author and stay away from slang. Now I move on to point number 5, that's called the sentence variety. So when I talk about sentence variety, this is another tool that will add a length and make my sentences understandable. So the tool is comma. So always make sure that your sentences look long and the tool has been applied correctly. Next, I move on to another point number 6, that is transitions. So transitional words are another weapon which are supposed to be added in the beginning of the sentence to give strength, length to your essay, and your essay will definitely look smarter. Not more than 4 to 5 words in a passage, not a paragraph. Words like nevertheless, moreover, consequently, granted, in the same way. So these are few transitional words that you can add and give strength and make your essay look formal. Now, quotes from the essay, proper punctuation. You're supposed to follow a formal way of describing writing as you've been using in your school, the formal writing ways. So that's how you're supposed to stick on to. Now, I would move on to the next, after these points, is another chapter called Elements of Persuasion. So now your job is to identify whether these elements are present in, and these are very, very important tools. Elements of persuasion. So the first one I'll talk about the rhetorical elements, which is extremely important. So when I talk about the rhetorical elements, I would talk about the word choice as discussed, evoking emotions, images, characterizing a subject, topic in a particular way, associating positive, negative emotions. So you're supposed to focus on that. Now, one very common factor is, which you're going to see in all the essays, statistics and data. So if I say 40% people stay under poverty line, I have my statement to support with the fact indicating a problem, numbers, facts, opinions. So to surprise the reader, to ground, it's important to ground the author's argument in reality. 50% of the colleges, the students have females, 1 out of 5 are female engineers. So these are all the statements using facts. Next, I have that's called acknowledging the other side, acknowledgeable counter arguments. You should always make a note that it's never a single sided argument. When I understand other person's perspective, addresses counter arguments, doubts, fears. So that's called acknowledging other sides. Suppose if I say you're supposed to do one ST, one mock, one this, one that till tomorrow evening, and you will come up and say, ma'am, how am I supposed to do this? And I say, okay, I understand. I completely understand your side. So that's like acknowledging the other side. Next, I would move on to a point. So comparisons automatically says that when you compare more complex why? Because they help reader to better understand, because it connects the author's point of view that reader already knows. Connecting with something new, with something the reader has agreed on, that's called the comparisons and analogies. Another rhetorical element is juxtaposition. So when I talk about juxtaposition, that means one option is made seem better than the other, establishing a contrast to highlight a point. So two things side by side for comparisons or contrast, that's called juxtaposition. Now we have challenging assumptions. Assumptions, something that is not stated directly, we infer, we draw a conclusion, enables an argument to proceed from actually a clean state, drawing a conclusion, a close-ended statement. Next, an important tool is anecdote. So when I talk about an anecdote, that means I'm talking about an emotional story, personal story to make a point, to convince, like I explained with the example of a politician, he will use his emotional arguments to convince. So that's anecdote. It's also called a patho device that we're going to discuss. Next you have is rhetorical questions. Now rhetorical question means that does not require an answer to it, so gets the reader to imagine a certain scenario. So now when you frame this appeal, the question, it's automatically, there's no answer to it, it automatically answers. Suppose if I say, save the environment, not to save the earth, but to save ourselves. Rhetorical device, rhetorical question. Or if I say the United States should have a direct democracy instead of a system of representatives. So I'm getting the reader to imagine a certain scenario. Next element would be hypothetical situation. Well, I would say a lot of you would agree to it that rhetorical elements and hypothetical situation are siblings. Here, if I say all the fuel in the world has completely come to an end, imagining a certain possibility, again, describing an outcome in a way that benefits his or her argument. Suppose, for example, another example would be having a best friend is necessary for a child's success. So, putting into a situation to think and rethink, forcing someone to think or rethink. Save the environment, not to save the earth, but to save, again, a repeated example. Then we have another one that's called strong directives with collective pronouns. That means we. We are teaming up. Ma'am, we will not study today. We will all have pizza today. So that means taking the side of the audience to better understand. That's why we is important. Let's embrace direct democracy together. Again, a we. Next we have is appeal to identity. So appeal to identity means if I say people of India will never allow this to happen, establishing a common ground with the audience, taking advantage, common values, beliefs, groups, that's called appeal to identity. Let's embrace direct democracy together. Another same example for appeal to identity. Next is evidence. Evidence is results from research and supporting examples. Next, a very, very important device is logos, pathos, and ethos. So 500 years back, as Aristotle defined these terms, and they're very, very useful. So when I talk about logos, I mean something that's supported with a logic, data, statistic, that's called appeal to logic and appeal to reasons. 40% people stay under poverty line, appeal to logic. That's how you identify. Pathos, completely anecdote based, emotional device. So no facts use. So pathos. Ethos means appeal to authority. So when I talk about appeal to authority, that means my argument that someone takes the credibility. It's coming from a reliable source. Or if you say that principal has instructed to come in the assembly hall, people are going to trust this more. Instead, saying a student telling that principal has instructed, someone who has the authority, someone who has the credibility. For example, as per, if I say 40% people stay under poverty line, how can I claim it? But if I say, as per the research in the WHO, World Health Organization, or American organization, 40% people stay under poverty line. So this makes the argument more powerful, more reliable. People are going to obviously trust when it comes from a reliable source. So that's called appeal to authority, ethos based argument. Trustworthiness, identity, presidential candidates are part of the describing this accomplishment for ethos. Military services, appeal to voters are all part of ethos. Now we talk about the body paragraphs. That's a question that students ask. What am I supposed to write in each body paragraph? What am I supposed to do? So first, as we discuss the thesis, the introduction, the main idea, very clear and crisp with the main idea stated, introduction to the topic, thesis statement, optional preview of examples. That's body paragraph 1. That's introduction. So body paragraph 1 will statement of the reason, examples. Then you come to those persuasive elements that we've discussed, stylistic elements. Body paragraph 2, statement of the reason, and the reasoning has to be given here. Examples, analysis of examples, transitions are a part of body paragraph 2. Body paragraph 3, statements of reason again, example, analysis, transition. So next, the last one would be the conclusion. So if I talk about the it's definitely the paraphrase of the thesis, very clear and crisp, summary of reasons, and then closing thought. Now, one thing I would like to address, when students don't score, or let's say 6.6, if you get a 6.66, no university will leave you. But a common score is 6.46, where students lack the analysis part. So now, once you're left with, you have the timer, you have the watch with you. Once you're left with 4-5 minutes, 3 minutes, stop everything and start concluding your essay. If it's not concluded well, trust me, your scores will definitely will get affected. The grader will get irritated and might not give you marks if it's not concluded well. So always have a conclusion. And the main argument is very, very important. Next, you can use these words, how to narrate. They are very, very common words and phrases that you can use while narrating. Words like discusses, shows, continues, characterizes, warns, points out, acknowledges, indicate, highlights, emphasize, maintain. These are very common words and phrases that you can use effectively to narrate in an essay. Secondly, very smart words, how to explain your argument. The implication is that, the suggestion is that, the author exploits the fact by appealing to our sense of, the author says, the author uses, in order to convey, or by showing that there is dash, 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 contributes greatly to the argument, persuasive. So these are very common and effective words that you can use to explain your argument. Now we talk about art of quoting. So art of quoting will be paraphrasing. Quotes should always go, should go outside the quotation mark. So quotation marks, put quotation mark around the title of the passage. So this, when you insert the word or letters for clarity or punctuation. But I would still say proper punctuation is not as important as your actual analysis is. A few punctuations errors will not hurt your scores, but if you are, if you're not sure about, but the analysis part is not good, so your argument, the essence is not there, your scores will definitely get hurt. Now, one thing I would like to address, that 7-8 mistakes, the fatal mistakes that are commonly done on an essay. Taking a personal stand. Whether I started with this point, I agree or disagree, should never be a part of your SAT essay. So one of the easiest trap to fall into is a simple summarizing when the author's argument, to rather than analyzing how he or she builds it. So all summary, no analysis. So analysis take the center stage, and that's the meat of an essay. So make sure you have enough with practice. One mistake another students make is they actually don't make statements like, without backing up. So it has to be backed up with evidences, examples, rhetorical elements. So to get a high point, you need to learn to elaborate your point. Too many quotes, 4 to 5 quotes are enough. Don't make it too choppy. just a very well balanced essay, 4 to 5 transitional words, 7, 8 good word toys, vocabulary words. Too many paragraphs, as we discussed, it's only 5 paragraphs: introduction, body paragraph 1, 2, 3, reasoning of analysis, and conclusion. Not writing fast enough, plan for 5 minutes, then you're supposed to write it for at least 40 to 43 minutes as fast as you can. No conclusion, the grades will directly get affected. A lot of essays where they don't have time, they actually forget to conclude, and the students are giving the essay attempt for the second time, they actually analyze this is a big mistake. So that's it from my side. You're supposed to start strong, build strong yourself to develop a well-written response, but with a very, very practical approach, very, very calm mind, opportunity to show your best work. That's it from my side. Over to you, sir.
Thank you a lot, ma'am. That was really a superb session. Got to know a lot much more about essays. How can how can we write a balanced essay using the different components? I would like to take you through a few questions, ma'am. So, one, I would like to collate everything. Basically, the SAT essays have been removed by the college board. So what is your perspective on this?
So they've actually removed it. It's fine, but then that's absolutely a college decision. See, SAT essay is not it's not a competitive score, and it's not added to your main score. So it's a qualifying score. It would not really hurt your marks for your SAT, for your math, writing, and reading. Yeah.
Okay. So
it was always a qualifying score, not a competitive score.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
And out of 3,000, let's say only 30 look into it and they give a close look to it. So it will not affect your actual scores.
Okay. Ma'am, there is one more question from Dev Karan. Do we include reader's response instead of personally engaging with the text?
I just said that very clearly. You're not supposed to give your personal opinions or rhetorical elements, the persuasive elements, how well you can define the evidences, facts, examples, reasoning to develop ideas, connected claims, evidence, stylistic persuasive elements, word choice, appeal to emotion. Instead of saying logos, pathos, I would say appeal to emotion, appeal to logos, no personal opinions. So that will add power to the ideas expressed.
Okay. Ma'am, are there any word limits in the essays?
650 to 700, 750 word limit. 2.5 page, 1/4 is for the instructions, rest is for writing as fast as you can. So at least cover those 3 pages as long as you can write, but don't repeat. So that the other person, the evaluator understand that you're repeating things. Yeah. So as I stated it in the beginning, as if you write it, longest essay receive good scores, shortest essay, obviously the marks are deducted.
Okay. Can we point out fallacies and how they contribute to their persuasion?
Come back again, please.
Can we point out fallacies and how they contribute to the persuasion?
Persuasive elements are very, very important. Those are the elements that you help see. There is no need to have, when you get a prompt, when you have a topic, there is no need to have a prior knowledge about the topic in order to write an essay. It's just the topic of the topic that's being given to you. You're supposed to express on that, and the argument written from a broad audience perspective. So your personal opinion is not a part of it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. The last question for the day, for this session. Do you recommend any particular books to practice?
Any books to practice? You can Google, you will find a lot of sample essays where they write the essays and they give the feedback, a medium feedback, a good feedback, a low feedback graded. You can refer to those.
Okay, ma'am. I guess
you have 3 types of feedbacks where you can actually analyze what you're saying. And Princeton is one of the good one.
Okay. Ma'am, any comments about analyzing, like while working on your essays, how exactly we could analyze ourselves and
how well, see, once you write an essay, obviously you can consult us, you can consult a teacher to give a feedback, or if you could Google a lot of common essays, you see the analysis. There are three types of analysis there: a good, medium, or a low. So you'll actually get to know when you read your essay and you compare your essay and you see the rhetorical elements, the persuasive elements are there or not to get you word choices, length of the essay, body paragraphs. So if that is covered, so obviously it's a good, mainly the analysis part, how well you explain your argument in a formal tone. If that's there, it's definitely a good essay. For that, you have to read a lot of sample essays first.
Okay.
If the rhetorical devices are not there,
Mhm.
elements, persuasive elements that we discussed, word choice, the logos, pathos, ethos, rhetorical, statistic data, if it's not there, definitely it's a bad essay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I guess students have got their disclaimers, what to use and what not to use, and how well they can balance their essays. So thanks a lot, ma'am, for this.
At least you have to write at least 4 to 5 essays before
Mhm.
you actually go for the actual exam.
Okay, ma'am. I guess all the questions have been answered. That was really a wonderful session. Thanks a lot for this. So, students, stay tuned for the next session wherein Abhinav sir would be conducting it for some special insights and tips for SAT exam. So, thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you for having me.